As Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin, alongside the new chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General C.Q. Brown, holding a press conference after meeting with NATO allies in Belgium. We heard Austin there promising support to Israel, saying that the U.S. will help Israel keep itself and its citizens safe, reiterating that Israel has a right and duty to defend itself.
Israel has the right, and I would add responsibility, to respond to the slaughter of their people. And we will ensure Israel has what it needs to defend itself against these terrorists.
What is collective punishment? Collective punishment has been defined as a form of sanction or punishment imposed on a population in response to a crime committed by a member. We have heard from politicians and the media about Israel's right to self-defense. This sentiment has been shared on both sides of the aisle. The vast majority of mainstream politicians agree with that claim. However, does self-defense give Israel the ability to punish the Palestinians collectively over the actions of a few? Punishment is not limited to the massive barrage of airstrikes, but includes blocking access to water, food, electricity, aid, and the free travel of Palestinians. We will go over how Israel has punished the Gaza civilians during this conflict and measures put forward by countries to provide humanitarian aid to Gaza, and which countries have blocked such measures. Israel's blockade during this conflict is a clear example of collective punishment. Food, water, aid, and medicine are scarce in Gaza since Israel has closed all ports where supplies can come in. The blockage of receiving these supplies has severely impacted the Gaza civilians. The average Gaza civilian uses less than 3 liters of water each day, which includes hygiene and cooking needs. Over 70% of the water that they use and drink is not clean, leading to prevalent waterborne illnesses. Gaza civilians have to wait hours at a time to get bread, which might not even be available. Electricity and internet access has been shut down all across Gaza, which means ambulances can't even be called to assist those injured in Israeli airstrikes. This blockade has been in effect for over 10 years, preventing Palestinians from traveling and from accessing key resources needed to survive. Which countries are taking steps to protect the Gaza civilians? Russia and China have been the leading forces that have called for a ceasefire. This would allow for humanitarian aid to arrive in Gaza, which has been blocked for weeks by Israel. This would give water, food, medical supplies, and a variety of other resources to the Gaza population. Israel, the United States, and a majority of Western nations opposed allowing humanitarian aid into Gaza. It's clear that the West wants to collectively punish Gaza, while Eastern countries want to provide much-needed resources to the Gaza civilians. What is the ultimate punishment that Israel plans on giving to the Gaza civilians? A classified 10-page plan from within the Israel Ministry of Defense shows that Israel seeks to forcefully expel over 2.3 million Gaza civilians from Gaza. The document recommends Israel evacuate the civilian population to Sinai during the war and establish tent cities. Later, more permanent cities in the northern Sinai would be created that would absorb the expelled population. Of course, the last step would be to create a quote sterile zone of several kilometers within Egypt and prevent the return of the population to activities, residences near the border with Israel close quote. The document unequivocally and explicitly recommends transferring Palestinian civilians from Gaza as the desired outcome of the war. According to an official in the intelligence ministry, the ministry's personnel stand behind these recommendations. The document proposes promoting a campaign targeting Palestinian civilians in Gaza that will motivate them to accept this plan and lead them to give up their land. In addition, the document encourages the government to lead a public campaign in the Western world to promote the transfer plan. Quote, in a way that does not incite or vilify Israel close. Quote, the document also says that the United States should be enlisted in the process to exert pressure on Egypt to absorb the Palestinian residents of Gaza, and that other European countries, particularly Greece and Spain, as well as Canada, should help absorb and settle the Palestinian refugees. It is clear that Israel is collectively punishing the Gaza civilians over acts that were not committed by the population. The mass bombing has killed far too many and must stop. There is no Gaza to return to, and we must do all we can to support the civilians and oppose the genocide that is being committed by Israel. We must call on our governments to stop the genocide and ensure that the Gaza civilians receive aid. The Gaza civilians are not our enemy and should not be punished for crimes they did not commit. If we don't stop this genocide, we risk many more deaths and further escalation in the Middle East.